The most successful people that I've ever met view obstacles as their breakthrough into the next opportunity towards success. She was born into essentially a satanic cult. Again, this is the most successful person I've ever met in my life. Stop avoiding obstacles and challenges and start looking for them. Yeah, I want to tell you about the most successful person I've ever met in my life. Now, when you think of success, a lot of times you think of people who have amassed great wealth or made great change. I don't know, Rockefeller or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, and a lot of it's associated with finances when it comes to success. What I discovered, I want to tell you a story. It was probably back in 2000, shit, cut back in here. So this would have been around like 2009, 2010. I was able to establish like a life group and a church group. It had hundreds of people that were involved in it, and there was always this one person. Let's call her Gina to change her name, right? So Gina would always have problems with everybody in the community. If you've got hundreds of people, and all of a sudden one person's coming to you saying, "Hey, I've got a real issue with Gina. Her behavior's got some problems with her," and I'd be like, "Well, what's the problem?" Well, her behavior, her attitude, her language, she's always got a problem. She's always backbiting. She's always got issues. You kind of let it slip. And then all of a sudden, a week goes by or a month goes by and someone comes, "Hey, Gina's got an issue." And you hear this like a dozen times. And you've had your own run-ins with Gina. I had many times where I'd meet Gina on the side, or everybody would be having dinner together, and, the conversation would just go rough, or she would just have a hard time. Had a real hard time socializing, had a real hard time getting along with people. Well, time goes on, and I start to realize that the biggest challenge that she's having is obviously no one's ever really inquired to her what the problem is. Like, what is the root problem? So, in working with this group and this large organization, I decided to get to the bottom of it. What the hell's going on with Gina, right? And so I decided to approach her, and we were running something inside of this organization that was after, there's a Greek word called sozo. And if you read your Bible or anything like that, anytime you read the word healing, like Jesus healed them or this person was healed, it's actually most often translated in the Greek word sozo. That's S-O-Z-O. And that translation really means to be saved, healed, delivered, set free, financially restored, set apart. And so we had this function inside of our organization called sozo. And so I decided to have this sozo session with Gina. Well, let me tell you how this went. Again, this is the most successful person I've ever met in my life. Now, Gina had a problem with every single person that she ever dealt with. No matter who she talked to, there was going to be a problem. About an hour into this session with Gina, I come to find out through just asking her the simple question, "What's your problem?" Right? A little bit more detail, but I started asking, and I really wanted to know. I was very curious. It wasn't condemning. It wasn't out of judgment. I just really wanted to know, what is it that is your issue? What's your major malfunction? Well, let me tell you. You come to find out that Gina had suffered from birth, that she was born into essentially a satanic cult. And if you're not familiar with these, she was born for the sole purpose of being used for sexual rituals and assault. She was raped, abused. She witnessed multiple murders. Now imagine yourself growing up in a culture and inside of a life and inside of a situation when you're a child and your sole purpose for existing is to be completely demoralized and abused. You think you might have some social issues with people, right? The fact that Gina had grown herself out of that situation, escaped from that culture, came to a situation where she was around other people and was just being a bitch was pretty damn amazing. There's one of my favorite quotes from Booker T. Washington. It goes something like this. He says that success isn't so much about where a man is at, but rather what someone's had to overcome or the obstacles in which you've had to overcome in the pursuit of success. So while you might think Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or your favorite guru is the most successful person you've ever met in your life, I would argue it's people like Gina who have overcome incredible adversity, challenges, situations that you can't even fathom, and they just happen to be kind of bitchy. So the real lesson here is, what's your excuse? If you haven't endured all those things, if you've never had to endure great obstacles, then what's your reason for not being successful? What I see is a lot of people have a fear of success, or they have a fear of the obstacles. They view obstacles as the reason for not going any further. This far and no further when they come up against an obstacle. And the most successful people that I've ever met view obstacles as their breakthrough into the next opportunity towards success. So rather than viewing obstacles as the thing to cease and desist your pursuit, it actually is the reason for your pursuit and the very thing that you're hoping for. I would challenge you in this. Stop avoiding obstacles and challenges and start looking for them. Now, there's a difference between looking for them and creating them. I'm not suggesting that you make challenges out of nothing, right? They'll come on their own. When you're in the pursuit of success and you're in the pursuit of your life that you want, and you come across those obstacles, rather than looking at them as problems, you have to see them as challenges to solve that problem, and that the breakthrough to your version and your idea and the definition of success, according to Booker T. Washington, is just on the other side of that next challenge. This way you get a whole new energy towards breaking through the next challenge. So the next time you come across a challenge that seems to want to shut down all your pursuit, look on the other side of that is your idea of success. And if you don't trust me, test it for yourself.